Okay, what do we say? What's up, YouTube? This is Pete from PWK Designs and
Steve from Digital Designs.
And this is our road trip up to Phoenix. Video exclusive for DD and PWK Designs, and of course outtakes on hexabase.com where I can say shit, fucking sh.
Yep. We are traveling to Phoenix to go see Scott Owens, one of my favorite pals. Scott's, some of you guys may not know if you're not into SPL. It's a shot in the dark to say that you might know. Is kind of like the poster child, or was, I should remember that, it was the poster child for Pioneer. So he was the one who put Pioneer on the map as far as SPL. Probably had some input on the design, I'm guessing, to an extent, for their, what they may have needed or not needed to do with their SPL woofer, the SPL 5000, whatever it was. Built some vehicles that were extremely loud, no doubt. Very little power in most cases, like their Scion specifically was pretty low powered, which a couple years ago they had thrown one of our woofers in, him and Kyle, in their Scion. They put two of our Z15s in it, and I think he said the thing went up 2.5 dB or some odd shit. And the power also went down from what they had before, which is pretty much across the board with everybody that's used them is standard. The impedance ends up going up. Same, even if you use the same impedance voice coils, in whatever enclosure that they were testing, the Z woofer was always a higher impedance, and therefore they received less power and were still louder. So when people finally figure out how to get the impedance down by way of acoustic design, they end up with a pretty potent package, whatnot. But anyway, that was a little off subject. Going to see old Scott. He's got a new place here that he's doing work on some really high-end cars, and a shitload of them. So like last time he rattled off their inventory, I mean, it was about $14 million worth of cars. And these are ones that this company actually owns. So they do high-end cars in large quantities and sell them to people with a little bit more money than probably you and I and all of our friends combined. So that's we're going up here to Phoenix where he is, and kind of check in and see what kind of vehicles he's doing at this very moment. He, I guess about 2 weeks ago, he had done a Bentley, and I'm not mistaken, it was a Continental coupe, and the Continental he had put, everybody there has all along had been building sound systems and whatnot. Apparently there were some issues, and he's the one now coming in there to redo a lot of these vehicles and to make these things not up to par, but setting a new bar for exotic cars and things. And if you've ever heard or sat in Lamborghinis and whatnot, which cool thing about Pete and I, we get the opportunity to sit in cars like these all the time and fuck around with them, and they just never are loud. And it is simply because of what most companies do and what most companies recommend when it comes to enclosure design, and also with subwoofers themselves. You end up with these flat woofer things. I don't really have a nice thing to say. Flat woofers in common, in general. They just don't get loud. I mean, period. Doesn't matter which brand you're going to shoot at. If you're happy with some and you got some, sorry to say it, but I would never be happy with anything like that, and I would never use them for that reason. But a lot of those companies make them because people are just asking for this, simply because they don't understand that a small box with a large woofer in it is never going to perform. A little itty bitty thing that's a little bitty wedge, and when your woofer has no capability of travel whatsoever, and it's why get into it? Big woofers that are flat in a really small box will never produce astounding bass. And that's exactly what these guys are always faced with. So these Lamborghini guys, Ferrari guys, they think that they have no option if they were thinking about it at all. They simply come into a dealership, recognize that this place is, that the car has a deficit on bass and probably on every bit of performance, because I haven't heard one that was actually nice sounding. They replace them with some really badass mids and highs, and then stick this turd behind the seat that's a pancake turd, and expect the car to actually have any semblance of bass whatsoever, and it just does not. It's a mid-bass monster at best. Well, that's what Scott's up here doing, is introducing these guys to the real world of output that just puts that smile on the rich guy's face, and that's priceless to me. So if we can make these guys happy and make them finally introduce to other people an exotic car that has bass performance, along with the mids and highs, of course, then we've done our job. So we make the people that have better things to do aware of something so simple as a car sound system in an exotic car that they would own, and make them want to purchase these kind of things. So if you can get somebody that makes millions and millions of dollars a year to even think about car audio, I think we've done a pretty good job. Hence the reason why Pete is sitting right beside me. So this is we'll introduce him to Pete and put Pete's brain to work on some of these little systems, and find out what from our lineup, or what we can produce that's not in our lineup at this moment, not including flat woofers, to make these cars just stand out, do something really badass without having to do molded in fiberglass things, or create enclosure designs that are forgiving if a little bit of fiberglass shaping is done to make the front look a little bit more appealing, possibly. If you've ever seen the Viper setups and the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, where you pop the seat and boop, there's this little flat area back there, and they add a little contour to it. That kind of stuff is cool as long as it would perform, but so far, none of them really do. We're here to change that. Well, either way, the Bentley setup that he had done the other day, he called me up and said he was in the middle of it, and all the guys that kept passing by, other installers and other guys there that do other things with the cars, kept coming by and going, "Man, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing all that shit on the inside of the box? Don't you just fiberglass it in?" He's like, just piss off, leave me alone, stay away from me, and I'll show you when it's done. So over and over and over again, all the guys, the mechanics, the people that do ground effects, people that do wheels, people that do brakes, engine work, and all these things, they all come by, they're bugging him, wondering what the hell it is that he's doing, and brushing it off as some mumbo-jumbo, magic crap. Either way, he finishes the car up, and what he decided to do was two of the 8s. So two 1508s in a Bentley Continental GT that got off to the point that everybody that went by it thought that he put two 15s in the car. And that's always the goal, no matter what, is to get people to say, if you ask them what was in the car, to get them to say that it was something way larger, and hopefully multiples of something way larger than what's in the car. So he did his job extremely well, and showed those people pretty much dropped their jaws when they found out that it was two 8s in the back of the car. And his next design, he's aiming for something even louder than that one. So after a little bit of modeling, he's found that he could possibly get another 3 decibels out of it. And for those of you that aren't that frothy at the mouth, crazy about car audio, that 3 decibel thing basically equates to double the amplifier power. So think of having 1,000 watts on a pair of 8s, and then the equivalent of a 3 decibel gain would be just like you strapped on another 1,000 watts of power. And to get that by just a few pieces of wood